Gentlemen, to the interview with Mr. Big. I am your host, the Aussie Enigma Hardy, and I have an interview with Mr. Big. He's going to be answering some questions for me. So, my first question for you, Mr. Big, is how'd you get into wrestling?
What I did was I always wanted to get into it. Always wanted to try it. Always, wanted to do something with wrestling. Was a fan back in the day. So, what I did was I looked up Google, as Google was getting bigger back in the day, and the first company that came up was PCW. I rang Ken Rock. Now here's a funny story. You want funny stories? Here's a funny story. So I rang Ken Rock. Ken Rock answered the phone. I said, "Look, mate, what days do you train?" And he explained to me, you can come on certain days and you'll be fine. Okay. So they said, "Have you ever trained a little guy before?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Oh, I'm like a dwarf, midget, you know." "Oh, well, you could come tomorrow night. We can have a chat.
10 o'clock.
We'll look after you. Don't worry about it." So I've been with the company ever since. But that was my first experience with PC Dolls. So if you've got something special and they tell you to rock up a certain night, they'll change that. You can rock up the next night.
Awesome. That's a good story. What do you have a passion for wrestling?
The passion was, I was raised on 80s wrestling. And 80s wrestling was classic, great stuff. It doesn't get the credit that it deserves. But if you look at the 80s stuff, right, compared to now, they were all freaks.
Mm-hmm.
They were freaks. I mean, you had Hulk Hogan, and you had Andre the Giant, and you had Macho Man, you had the Warrior, you had freaks. And when I used to go to school, obviously we all get picked on at school, and we get bullied and whatnot. Because I was different compared to everybody else, they made me feel like being a freak was cool. So you can imagine I'd come home and watch wrestling, and there it was. And then I got the passion of because I did drama at school. I did drama. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But I did drama. But I liked the
idea of it, yeah.
The idea of you basically doing ballet with violence. You've got to work with your partner to get to to side A or B or whatnot. But you're doing physical violence while you're there. So the passion has always been there. I've always sat there and said, you never say what if. If
you do.
You just do it and you fail. If you fail at it, at least you try.
Exactly.
That was the passion was always there. It was just timing. It was always timing of getting into it, and I knew that it was either going to be later or sooner or later or something that I was going to do something with it. So that was it.
Cool. Who were your favourite superstars when you were watching as a kid?
Oh man, like I said, I got it good when I was young. My first match I ever watched was Rick Rude and Warrior in a steel cage for the time.
That's nice.
Now that was my first experience of wrestling. Never seen it, never.
Was this an Optus back then, or?
Yeah.
That's right.
And so.
You're an Optus kid.
Yeah. And so I got that. So we had the Warrior, and we had Hogan, and I always loved them guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, because they were the mega stars that the WWE pushed back then.
Yep.
But I also liked the different teams. Like I loved the Bushwhackers.
Yeah, who did I?
The Bushwhackers never got any credit for what they did. They put a lot of good teams over, and they made them look good while they were there. The Hart Foundation, I thought, were unreal.
Yes.
And Demolition. I'm a huge fan of Demolition. Everybody said they were a rip-off to the Road Warriors. The difference was they could wrestle. Road Warriors couldn't wrestle. They would just beat the shit out of you. And then eventually we got into the Attitude Era.
Yep.
I was going to high school when the Attitude Era was happening. And it was great. You had Austin. And you had, once again, you had your different stars. You had Austin, you had Rock, who who were just starting to become something. You had Triple H, you had Taker, who was phenomenal. And then you had, you had DX. You had the whole DX army going off. You had
The Nation of Domination.
Nation of Domination, which I think they should bring back.
Yes.
They've got the stars.
Xavier Woods and all that. Yeah,
they've got the stars to do it.
Yeah.
And it would be a lot more politically incorrect, and it would be better.
Yeah.
You also had stars like, Rikishi, because he was fat.
Stinkface.
But he was different.
Yeah.
It was always different. So them guys, anyone that was different,
Okay.
I used to love.
Appealed to you.
Yeah, it was because it wasn't the same stuff.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, well, he's a bit different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like I mentioned, you're a wrestler here in Melbourne, Australia, and what's the best match you've been in so far?
Oh,
I know there's been
there's a lot of good ones. There's been a lot of good ones. I would have to say for reaction,
Yeah.
the Warrnambool match I had with Chris Rance.
Yeah.
It was like walking out at Roseville. It's great. Like it's the greatest feeling of all time. But walking out at Warrnambool, where there's like 1,000 people there,
Oh yeah. Packed house.
a packed house, 1,000 people, where we can get what 300-400 and
Oh, yeah.
and you walk out and then and everything you did was massive to them.
Yeah.
Like whether it was just nailing Trance in the nuts or like just doing something stupid like that or jumping on him,
Yeah.
doing like a suicide dive or something.
Yeah.
Something. So that was match. I'll give that. I gave that 3 out of 4 stars as a match. But the match, I mean, personal reasons because of this match.
Yeah.
About a year and a half ago, I had a match with Mark Cage,
Okay.
who I think is the future of PCW.
Sure is.
He's an absolute superstar.
Sure is.
And I've always been grateful in wrestling, Mark, because before they all become stars,
Yeah.
like you would want that chance of, oh, I want wrestling,
Yeah.
So what happened was, and I'll tell you the story behind it. My mum had passed away about a week earlier, and I went up to Queensland and did the funeral.
Yeah.
And I came back the next day because I wanted to wrestle
Yeah.
because
That
it was
was
my
fun.
outlet. It
Yeah.
was, And then the story was told that they were trying to find someone for me to wrestle.
Yeah.
And they were finding it hard, but because of the situation that it was going to be.
Yeah.
Mark Cage stood up and said, "I'll do it. I don't care. I'll do it, and I'll do it, and I'll love it, and I don't care the results or whatnot." And really felt respected
Yeah.
when that happened.
Yeah.
And so we did the match, and the match was just beautiful. It was a beautiful match, and it was very emotional, and it was very, even though we had a packed house at the Helen, at the Slam, it just felt like one person was watching that match. And I've always been grateful for that match. I've always, if I was to present, if WWE came to me and said, "Look, can you present a match to us?"
Yeah.
That would be the match that I would present to them. That would I would sit there and say, "Well, this is what I can do."
Yeah.
So, those 2 matches are my favourites of all time.
That's good.
Like I said, for personal reasons and everything else to go with it. So,
Thanks for that story, by the way.
yeah.
Out of all the wrestling companies that you've wrestled for, who's your favourite?
PCW.
PCW?
I'll tell you what, PCW looks after you. They look after you. One, everybody knows the St. Kilda scandal and how that all went down and stuff with me. What I was really taken away by was I contacted people within PCW and they looked after me.
Yeah.
They looked after me as soon as I said anything and whatnot. Other companies do look after their guys, and they do. And but I don't think they do the way PCW does.
Okay.
And a prime example, maybe you might go work somewhere else, but PCW will be very look after your character.
Yeah.
Because you look good here, you can't look bad
Someone
here,
else. Yeah.
where most companies couldn't give a damn.
Yeah.
So I think PC is the best because they really do look after you, man, and it's like family, man. So even though you see each other every weekend and you get annoyed, typical brother or sister relationship, or you will still go into bat for each other.
Yeah.
And I don't, like I said, I don't think you get that with any other company. So PCW all the way, man.
Cool. Anyone from the local Australian independent wrestling
Did I enjoy?
that you want to verse, actually? Maybe from
Mr.
PCW?
Juicy.
Okay.
Mr. Juicy.
Mr.
I already
Juice.
had a match with him
Once again?
but I'd love to do it again.
Yeah.
I'd love to do it. It's just too funny. It's
Yeah.
a funny match.
Yeah.
I would love to, in the independent, as far as Australia goes,
Yeah.
A Robbie Eagles.
Okay.
I would love to face a Robbie Eagles. I would love to face a Ryan Eagles. I would love to face. There's not too many people that I would
Pinpoint.
because I think if you wish to face someone, you don't put your best match up.
Okay.
Because you're too I'm finally got him.
Yeah.
I would love to. I've never wrestled him.
Yeah.
But I would love to wrestle Tricky D. Tricky D, Tom Hawk. I would love it. I would just love it.
Yeah.
I would love it because Tricky's like a best friend, one of my best friends in the business, and
Yeah.
I would just love it. It would just be a laugh. That's all. That would be my and maybe as a gimmick match,
Yeah.
Mark Williamson.
Yeah.
Just as a gimmick match.
Yeah.
Just,
I really like him.
yeah, he's a great manager. He's
like
very,
the Paul Heyman of our
very
Australian.
underrated.
Yes, I agree.
It's very
That's why I like him.
underrated, and people don't understand. With managers, you got to put the emphasis on your wrestler,
Exactly.
not yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel he does great with putting
Both things are.
on his wrestler.
Yeah.
But he makes himself look good at the same time while doing it, and that's a hard job.
Yeah.
That is a hard job to do. So.
Yeah, that's good. Who's your favourite in PCW? And including Slam as well.
Cage.
Cage all the way.
Cage, because as good as he is, and we know how good he is, he still wants to learn.
Yeah.
He still wants to learn. Anything, he's like a sponge. He is the greatest sponge that you could ever have. Anything you can teach him, he learns. Like when he did his knee.
Yes, that was a very fatal injury.
Any normal kid would have just, I'm done with wrestling. Or I'm not going to come down until I'm right to go. Mark Cage came down every day before his surgery. And he came every day after his surgery. He came to every training session. He came to everything you could possibly think. And he was on crutches. Now, I cannot, with 5 digits in my head, I cannot name 3 that would do that.
Wow.
Mark Cage, I swear to God, is the future. I hope to God he gives overseas a go, because I think he has something to offer.
Yep.
And even if it doesn't work out for him,
Yeah.
he would come back a better wrestler than he is now, just by mixing with the Americans.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry about Japan, don't worry about all that, because no one buys into all that. It's mostly the American WWE and TNA, and if he gets an inch into one of them companies,
I'd love to see him in TNA.
he will be a phenomenal star.
Yeah.
His body start to work out for him. He start to look like really good, and I think Mark Cage, without a shadow of a doubt, is the future of Australian wrestling. and I will back him 100% every
Sure.
go.
It's good.
So yeah,
It's good. What are your hobbies outside of wrestling?
hobbies. Oh well, shit. Basketball.
Yeah.
Love basketball. That was my first passion.
Yeah.
Obviously, didn't get drafted or anything, but I loved basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball was just great.
Yeah.
Obviously, video games,
Yeah.
like Xbox or I'm not a PlayStation fan. Don't hate me. You know, don't send me any hate mail. I don't like PlayStation. They suck. I do love hobbies. I do love watching like DVDs. I
Yeah.
consider that as a hobby.
That's good. That's good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
What do you like to watch?
I'm starting to get into what is it? An Idiot Aboard.
Oh, that's a good show. That's very funny. Funny, yes.
People, it's the show at the moment. It is the show at the moment. If I'm not doing that, obviously I'm doing 2.5's Crowd
Yes.
with Tricky and Afro Chris.
Yes.
Getting beaten the shit out of by Chris. Or getting slapped on the face or something. Or if I'm on the toilet, getting beaten the shit out of. But you know, and then obviously I have my son, 6-year-old son. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't consider it a hobby, but it's more of a, I love it, I just love hanging with him.
Yeah.
And I mean, after the shows, he jumps in the ring, he beats the shit out of me, you know. There's no holding back with the little shit. So, you know, he followed through with his punches, you know.
All right. Last question for you is: do you have any social media?
Yes, I do. I have social media. I have Instagram.
Yes.
Don't ask. I've got it. Don't ask me the name of it, but I'll give it to you later.
Sure.
I've got the Mr. Big fan page.
On
Now,
Facebook.
people understand my fan page and my personal pages are two different things. If I ask you to go on my fan, it's not a personal thing. It's just I want my privacy. So my Facebook page for Mr. Big is facebook.com/wrestling Mr. Big.
Yep.
You know, I am very sociable on the phone.
Yeah.
Like I said, on Instagram, I don't ask me the name of that. Someone set that up for me, and I was like, oh, Jesus.
Damn.
So I don't have Twitter
Okay.
because I don't understand it.
Yep.
And I hate it.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate it. It's like hashtag.
Yeah.
Before you even write anything, mate. I mean,
Fair enough.
why don't you just talk through hashtag? You know, like
Yeah.
hashtag you are an idiot. Hashtag what a stupid midget. You know what I mean? Seriously, fuck.
Yeah.
But that's all my social stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
That's pretty good. All right. Thanks for this interview. So,
no worries, man. Anytime. Even
And-
though this took like a month to do.
Yes.
You know, you keep
Bloody-
cancelling on me because of your boyfriend or something. But that's not judging. Not judging.
Cheers.
Tell you what, man, that was a great interview, but
I know, right?
I'm still waiting for my money.
Oh.
You don't have it, do you?
No.
You know what, man? I came and I did your interview and I wanted the money and I just, you know what? No. Stupid kids.